The sector given the division to defend, wedged between sectors of the French 125th Division on the right and the French 39th Division on the left, extended for about 7 miles along the south bank of the Marne, from the eastern suburbs of Château-Thierry past the small farming villages of Étampes-sur-Marne, Blême, Fossois, Mézy, and halfway up Hill 231, Moulins, to a point about 600 yards west of Varennes. Crézancy, a larger village with a regional hospital and an agricultural college, stood nearly 2 miles from the Marne, directly south of Mézy. In the American sector, the Marne was 50 feet wide. It was a deep river with a fast current, and for an advancing army, crossing it would not be an easy task. There were 4 small islands in the river, opposite the enemy-held villages of Chartèves, Mont-Saint-Père, Glon, and Braille on the north bank, and a sluice dam west of Mézy. Several bridges spanned the river, 2 in front of the 3rd Division, at Mont-Saint-Père and the village of Jourgonne. 7 miles east of Château-Thierry, the Marne made a wide loop north at a place called the Jourgonne Bend before turning south and east again, forming a natural salient that on the eve of the battle jutted 2 miles into German-held territory, offering the enemy the great advantage for enfilade and reverse fire. On the north side, the banks were steep and wooded, with lines of willow trees and thick underbrush, a perfect spot for concealing a large force. On the division side of the river, the banks were less imposing, mostly flat, but gently rising to a height of 500 feet, an open plateau of fertile farmland, covered with wheat fields and clumps of woods known as the Bois d'Aigremont. Colonel Edmund Billy Butts thought the Bois d'Aigremont was advantageously situated for defense because it offered areas of concealment for a complete regiment, machine gun battalions, and artillery. On the eastern edge of the division sector, a hilly forested region, the Little Surmelin River, as McAlexander called it, entered the Marne from the south. Describing the Surmelin River, Ike Lovejoy called it a so-called river because probably the French have no word for creek. The Surmelin Valley, a wide, rich plain plentifully dotted from the Marne as far south as Montmiral with tiny farming towns and prosperous cultivated fields, cut a natural corridor toward Paris. The sides of the valley were steep and wooded and thick with foliage. Rising on the eastern slope was the Moulin Ridge, also referred to as Moulin Ruiné, and militarily named Hill 231. The Paris to Nancy Railroad, with its 10-foot-high embankment along with a major wagon road, paralleled the Marne's south bank until the railroad came to the Surmelin River, where it curved southward and followed the Surmelin to the major railhead at Montmiral and then on to the French capital. After studying the lay of the land, General Dickman observed, as there were no other railroads and highways between Château-Thierry and Dormans towards the south, the Surmelin Valley formed a sort of gateway of high strategical importance to an invading force from the north aiming at Paris. The general situation, therefore, presented favorable conditions for an offensive operation on the part of the enemy, excepting the obstacle of the river. But it was thought that no defenders could remain on its banks under a concentrated fire of artillery, machine guns, and Minenwerfer. A study done by the U.S. Army Chemical Corps in 1959 agreed with Dickman's assessment. The strategic feature of the sector occupied by the 3rd Division was the Surmelin Valley, a natural gateway to the south. Major Walter C. Short, who had fought with the 1st Division during the war and later made a study of the Champagne-Marne defensive, described the Surmelin as the best inroad to the south between Château-Thierry and Lens, from both a tactical or strategical point of view. Thus, the valley became the main vantage point to be desired by the enemy. From the moment the division reached the Marne Valley on the first days of June, even before it got settled in,